Welcome to day 6, my last day of paddling in Lake Tahoe. I had to get in a little bit of an earlier start today because I need to bring the rental back hopefully by about 12:30. So it's 9 o'clock in the morning, and the biggest reason I haven't started paddling this early in the day is because the temperature fluctuates quite a bit here in Tahoe. It's only about 55 degrees right now. It'll warm up probably about 20 degrees by the time I get to my destination, but if given the option, I'll paddle in 70 degrees over 50 any day of the week. The advantage of going out this early, as you can see, I can't see, there's nobody at the beach. I mean, would you go to the beach when it's 55? I wouldn't. I actually have access. This is a campground beach that I'm launching at. Through where I'm staying, I have access to this private beach over here. But it involves steps, and why would I make things more difficult for myself? So I'm at this public beach launching right now. Today's goal is to go to Kings Beach. I paddled to Kings Beach last summer while I was here. It's a rocky, beautiful beach, and it's just a little bit beyond where I need to return my kayak. But I thought I'd paddle there, check it out, play there for a little while, and then head back to Tahoe Vista, where the boat lives. Let's go. Well, it sure warmed up in a hot minute. I'm not even a mile in, and well, Weather Channel says it's still 55, but there's no way it can be 55. Okay. Day 6 is another pretty pleasant day with little to no wind out here. At this point in my trip, I've seen just about everything I can see from my launch point, so I'm not gonna stop and dilly-dally. My goal today is just get as many miles as I possibly can in about 3.5 hours. Maybe if I'm feeling lucky, pop into Reno, try my luck at some games, skip my flight tomorrow, retire in Tahoe. So as long as we're fantasizing about winning jackpots, retiring early, if I had my dream job, I would strap my current design's Solstice and Vision to the roof of my car, and as it gets colder, work my way down to Florida, paddle with the gators. Man, sign me up for that gig. I'm just gonna go under it. Morning yoga on the pier. Another great way to spend your morning on Lake Tahoe. I've mentioned many times this trip how pristine Lake Tahoe is, and the state of California goes to great lengths to ensure that it stays that way. I spoke the other day about the exorbitant launch fees at the municipal boat launch in Tahoe City, $75 a day or about $1,000 a year for a non-resident. In addition to those exorbitant fees, the state of California will charge you, I think it's about $150 to inspect your boat to make sure you're not bringing in any invasive species to Lake Tahoe. Now when you exit the lake, they will put a lock on your prop that you can cut off yourself easily. But if you return to Lake Tahoe the next week, the next day, the next month, the next year, with that lock intact, they know that you've not launched your boat elsewhere, and they will waive that inspection fee. If you return and you have removed that lock off your prop, then they will have to inspect your boat again and charge you that $150. Maybe it's even $175 or $200 by now. I don't know. So, long story short, boating in Lake Tahoe is not cheap. passing by downtown Tahoe City for the last time. A couple of nice places to eat here in downtown Tahoe City. Last night I ate at Moe's Barbecue. I had their pulled pork there when I was here last year. Last night I had the 6-rib platter with 2 sides. I had chicken corn chowder and sweet potato casserole served with cornbread. Stuffed myself stupid for 28 bucks, so not overpriced at all for the area. If you're into more fine dining, there's Jake's on the Lake. I was there last night before they served food, but I did have a pretty good Mai Tai sitting at the water's edge. There's also a pizza place that looked and smelled amazing as I was walking by yesterday. So maybe tonight I'll get a chance to give that a try. I am from Chicago, so my pizza standards are pretty high, but that looked like it was on par. Maybe I'll give a chance to try that one out tonight. The lake gets really busy, but I can't imagine the air gets too crowded in Lake Tahoe. That's the only seaplane I've seen in my miles of paddling. I'm gonna paddle right under it here. It takes an awful lot of skill to take off and land a seaplane without taking out your pier, I would imagine. Hi. Often in my videos I will answer the question, would I want my lake house here? Lake Tahoe is likely the most beautiful place I've ever paddled. But yesterday as I was walking through downtown Tahoe City, I looked in the window of a local realtor at some of the properties that were being featured, and a lakefront condo you could probably get for about $2 million. So a single family home with shoreline, I don't know, I think the cheapest one I saw was $10 or $13 million. So that would be a pretty hard no. I don't have generational wealth. I don't even have any wealth for that matter. The reality is I'll probably never be able to afford lakefront property, even in the state of Wisconsin. But dare to dream, right? So I just want to see what kind of boats people have around here. I honestly don't see a single lightweight boat on any of those racks. So I'm at this point, like on the outermost point of Dollar Point. I don't know if you can see this or not, but my destination is Kings Beach. Now, I remember paddling to Kings Beach last year and it was kind of choppy. It was probably a weekend, a little bit more wind. So I hugged this shoreline really, really closely. I'm feeling extremely confident that I don't need to do that today. So I think I'm probably going to save, probably the better part of a mile, if not more, if I just cut across this bay straight across. So taking a tiny break at 5.5 miles to hydrate, and then I'll be back on my way. So while I'm sitting here hydrating, I thought I would talk about my paddle a little bit. This beautiful piece of all carbon sculpture. It only weighs 21 ounces. It was really pricey, and some people have asked me, is it really worth spending over $500 on a paddle? Well, I paddle almost every day in the summer, so to me it's worth every single penny. So let's compare this all carbon cadence paddle made by Lendal to my previous paddle, also a really good paddle made by Aquabound, the Stingray it's called. So this paddle is all carbon. My previous paddle, and there's probably about a $350 difference between the two paddles. My previous paddle was a all carbon shaft with a carbon enforced nylon blade. So obviously you're going to pay a premium for an all carbon paddle. You're also going to pay a premium for a bent shaft, which is a little bit easier on your wrists. The biggest difference though is the weight of your paddle, and that's where you're going to really spend a lot of money. My previous paddle was 21 and no, sorry, my previous paddle was almost 29 ounces, whereas this beauty is only 21 ounces. Now, is it really worth just under 9 ounces of difference for that kind of money for a paddle? Yes. The other day when I was on my 20-mile jaunt, just for shits and grins, I counted how many strokes I had in a mile. Now, it was a tiny bit windy, so it turned out to be a 16-minute mile, which is a little bit longer than usual, but I had 850 strokes in that particular mile. Since it was a little windy, let's just round it off to 800 strokes per mile. So the difference in lifting an extra 9 ounces 800 times, and mind you, that's only 1 mile out of many. The difference in lifting 9 ounces over a mile, multiply by, even if it's 8 ounces, multiply by 800 strokes, you're going to have a difference of about 400 pounds that you're lifting 9 ounces at a time in just 1 mile. So imagine if you have one of those crappy rental paddles that's well over 30 ounces, probably if not 40 if it's a real piece of crap. Your arms are going to get tired in a hot minute lifting up that much weight over and over and over 800 times a mile. So if you're just noodling around on the lake and you're not concerned about time, exertion, getting from point A to point B, the Aqua Bound in the price range of about $200, $220, it's going to be fine. I used that for years. It wasn't until last season that I decided to invest in a really high-end paddle, and I have no regrets about that at all. Exactly where the bow of the boat is pointed, that's actually the state line. I think just to say that I paddled across the state line, I'm going to paddle to that point. There's nobody around. I totally have got this. I am a good distance from shore right here. Crap, I'm probably about a third of the way too. But all good. Feeling safe. But that being said, it's not a place I'm going to linger. So it looks as if it's probably maybe 3 miles crossing the bay here. By chance, the wind should happen to pick up out of nowhere. I'm about halfway there now. I also have the option, made sure that the spray skirt was in the cockpit of the boat, not stored in the hatch. I could always slip on the spray skirt if it gets windy, just to avoid getting water in the cockpit. Smooth sailing so far. Those 3 jet skis are literally the first thing that's crossed my path in this jaunt across the bay. But the distance is sure deceiving on a lake this big. Woohoo! Made it. Officially made it across the bay from Dollar Point to the state line. What I estimated on the map was approximately 3 miles, turned out to be 4 3/4 miles straight across the bay. I gotta admit, there was a minute there I was questioning my decision. Not because I thought the conditions were gonna become unfavorable or anything, but it's just always the safest choice to stick next to the shore. I definitely wouldn't recommend that for anybody that's not a really seasoned paddler. And if those conditions weren't absolutely perfect as far as lack of boat traffic, it's middle of the week, it's off season, and there's no wind. If any of those factors were just a little bit off, I wouldn't have taken that chance. But I really just kind of crossed the state line just to say I did it. It's beautiful here, but there's really nowhere to stop and get out. I just passed Kings Beach, and that was originally my destination. I just kind of last minute said, hey, why don't I paddle to Nevada? That sounds like a good idea. So here I am. I'm not going to stop, just maybe long enough to get a drink of water, and I'm going to move along to Kings Beach. Even though I wanted to beeline straight across the bay to save time, the one thing you miss is the beauty of the shoreline when you do that. I've officially made it to Kings Beach. Kings Beach is a large sandy public beach that you see behind me. But you know what? I'm confusing it with another beach that I pulled over at last year. I thought Kings Beach was the rocky beach that I stopped at on my way to the state line last year. This is definitely not it. This isn't what I had in mind, so I don't really feel the need to get out here. I'm going to continue along my way to Tahoe Vista. I'm going to look up some pictures and video of where I am thinking was Kings Beach that I was at last year and kind of edit those in, because that's where I thought I was headed, but this is clearly not it. It's just an ordinary beach. What I'm thinking of was a lot prettier. Maybe I passed it by going straight across the bay. I don't know, but I'll find it and I'm gonna edit that in here. Well, that wraps up day 6 on Lake Tahoe. I'm closing it on 14 miles, and less than a quarter mile or so up ahead I see the marina, where I will be meeting the owner of this boat to return it to her. Won't have any more time for chatter when I get there, because I'll be assisting her getting this boat up on her vehicle. Calm isn't going to last long though, because it's Friday morning and the weekend warriors are already starting to filter in, so I'm glad I got so much time on the water that I've been able to have during the week when it's a little bit more calm. I have close family right near Lake Tahoe, which is why I've been able to come out here as often as I have. Unfortunately, they're moving. I still do have family in the Bay Area though, and I've paddled around San Rafael and Monterey quite a bit, and I think my next trip out to California is going to be paddling with the sea otters and sea lions again, but that's probably not going to be until next year. My season is not even close to over yet, so thanks for coming with on my Tahoe trip. Lots of places for me to paddle yet this season in the Midwest. I never know where the waters are going to call me next, so please be sure to subscribe so you don't miss any of my next adventures. See you next time.